Good evening, Tom Barter, Planning Ops for the Cameron Peak Fire, and this is your evening update for Friday, September 4th. The fire today was mostly active up here on the northeast corner where it has been the last couple days. Temperatures were a little warmer, but there were less winds today, so there wasn't quite as much movement in it today. But it did fill in some of the unburned fuel from the burning operation along Highway 14 last night. And continued just to kind of work its way up on this shoulder and just right around the top here. A little bit of fire activity out here in the very east corner and out here around the Grass Lake area. Fairly minimal for the day though, but there was a little bit of activity, a little bit more smoke. So going around for the fire today, just an update. Division Alpha Zulu, still in a hold and patrol status. Again, all the structures are primed and plumbed and prepped right in the Laramie River Road corridor. The big line around Foxtrot, Lima, and Romeo, this big indirect line is complete. The line that was put in to protect the communities of Crystal Lake, Redfeather, and Glacier View. The line is complete, but what we are still doing there now is we are using some skidding operations to haul out a lot of the trees and debris left over from in placing that line. The other work that's going on here in the Branch 2 area is this, what we're calling the Killpecker line, which is another line we're proposing and have started work on. And we're basically bringing right out of drop point 60 here off the Dead Man Road. We're bringing one down to the southeast, come below the Killpecker Tower, and then bringing some hand line up to tie in some more dozer line or machine line and bring that up beneath the Killpecker Tower. There is still some scouting to do right in this area to find a way to piece those together. The object here is to try to make a little bit of a smaller box or a smaller footprint for this fire to keep this fire from impacting some of these structures out to the east and northeast. Down here in Division Uniform, a lot of heavy chipping going on right here in the Pingree Park Road, from that road being prepped on both sides. All the structures in there are plumbed and primed, pumped, ready to go. So a lot of chipping operations in that area. We did move some of the heavy equipment. We had mentioned a couple days ago, some of the heavy equipment from up here producing this line has moved down here to the Crown Point Road. And here they are prepping this road on both sides, cleaning that road up. Expecting that operation to take another couple days and they'll be, should be out of there. What we're calling the Comanche Peak line. What we've got here is we've got 2 shot crews and a fire module, and they're on the Browns Lake Trail, bringing that line up. And then what they're doing here is they're tying in saddles with some vegetation in it, cutting those out, and then bringing it up to this tundra, this alpine tundra, the vegetation change where it may hold a little better there. So we'll have crews in there. They got probably another 2 to 3 shifts in there completing that line, being supported by a helicopter with sling loads as they need them each day for supplies, food, and water. Brings those to them each morning and afternoon. Down here in Division Whiskey Victor, we do have crews down here off what we're calling the Long Draw Road, but they're calling this the Nyota Line, and we're looking at ways to bring a line up a big meadow here, and then the same concept is to bring it up here to some alpine tundra, try to tie it in there, and then look for ways to bring that over back to Highway 14 and just try to connect these dots along the bottom of the fire. The object here again is the same. Try to make that footprint a little smaller if we can, try to protect some of the watersheds out here to the southeast and east, and also the structures out here to the east. The highway, we had structure group along the Highway 14 corridor. Yesterday they came in, the fire activity was enough that it started working its way down the ridge here, right down the canyon. So yesterday afternoon the structure group fired out around some houses and then down the road a little ways. Night shift came in and monitored that all night. Today structure group came in doing the same thing, spending time around houses, monitoring the fire, and if need be, they will fire. Otherwise, their job is to just the structure group 1. They've got all the houses prepped up to right about here, and the road is prepped up to the Manhattan Road. So most of the work is complete there. They're just going to stay there and monitor the fire and fire out where they need to and protect the values there. Structure group 2, 3, and 4 They continue to work around the communities of Crystal Lake, Redfeather, and Glacier View. What they're doing there is they're putting in some indirect line around this private property there, working with the communities and looking at ways that they can access the private property and maybe assess some structures in there. Currently, though, there are places where they are putting in some indirect line, cutting around the communities themselves. Structure Group 4 down here on the Buckhorn Road, they are prepping this road and out towards the east, and as they get to private property, they'll be looking for ways that they can try to do some work around some private property when they get there. Right now they're just still working on the road and prepping that. They'll come in there, then this prep takes a lot of fuel off the sides of the road, and that fuel doesn't just go anywhere. It ends up on the ground, so we're bringing chippers in here to chip a lot of that fuel, and that's why a lot of the chipping operations are going along these roads, is just because they're cutting the stuff off the side of the roads, leaves it there, and so we'll chip it. And that is your update for September 4th.